Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. When Mary Lennox was sent to Misselthwaite Manor to live with her uncle, everybody said she was the most disagreeable-looking child ever seen. It was true, too. She had a little thin face and a little thin body, thin light hair and a sour expression. Her hair was yellow and her face was yellow because she'd been born in India and had always been ill in one way or another. Her father had held a position under the English government and had always been busy and ill himself. And her mother had been a great beauty who cared only to go to parties and amuse herself. She had not wanted a little girl at all, and when Mary was born, she handed her over to the care of an ayah, who was made to understand that if she wished to please the Memsahib, she must keep the child out of sight as much as possible. Mary never remembered seeing familiarly anything but the dark faces of her ayah and the other native servants, and they always obeyed her and gave her her own way in everything, because the Memsahib would be angry if she was disturbed by her crying. One frightfully hot morning, when she was about 9 years old, she awakened feeling very cross, and she became crosser still when she saw that the servant who stood by her bedside was not her ayah. "Why did you come?" she said to the strange woman. "I will not let you stay. Send my ayah to me." The woman looked frightened, but she only stammered that the ayah would not come, and when Mary threw herself into a passion and beat and kicked her, she only looked more frightened and repeated that it was not possible for the ayah to come to Missy Saab. There was something mysterious in the air that morning. Nothing was done in its regular order, and several of the native servants seemed missing, while those whom Mary saw slunk or hurried about with scared faces. But no one would tell her anything, and her ayah did not come. She was actually left alone as the morning went on, and at last she wandered out into the garden and began to play by herself when she heard her mother come out onto the veranda. She was with a fair young man, and they stood talking together in low voices. Mary knew the fair young man. She'd heard that he was a very young officer who'd just come from England. The child stared at him, but she stared most at her mother. She always did this when she had a chance to see her, because the Memsahib, Mary used to call her that oftener than anything else, was such a pretty person and wore such lovely clothes. "Is it so very bad? Oh, is it?" Mary heard her say. "Awfully," the young man answered. "Awfully, Mrs. Lennox. You ought to have gone to the hills 2 weeks ago." The Memsahib wrung her hands. "Oh, I know I ought," she cried. "I only stayed to go to that silly dinner party. What a fool I was." At that very moment a loud sound of wailing broke out from the servants' quarters. "What is it? What is it?" Mrs. Lennox gasped. "Someone has died," answered the officer. "You didn't say it had broken out among your servants." "I didn't know," the Memsahib cried. Come with me, and she turned and ran into the house. After that, appalling things happened, and the mysteriousness of the morning was explained to Mary. The cholera had broken out, and people were dying like flies. The ayah had been taken ill in the night, and it was because she just died that the servants had wailed in their huts. Before the next day, 3 other servants were dead, and others had run away in terror. During the confusion and bewilderment of the second day, Mary hid herself in the nursery and was forgotten by everyone. Nobody thought of her. Nobody wanted her. And strange things happened of which she knew nothing. Mary alternately cried and slept through the hours. When she awakened, she lay and stared at the wall. The house was perfectly still. She had never known it to be so silent before. She heard neither voices nor footsteps, and wondered if everybody had got well of the cholera and all the trouble was over. She wondered also who would take care of her now her ayah was dead. There would be a new ayah, and perhaps she would know some new stories. Mary had been rather tired of the old ones. She did not cry because her nurse had died. She was not an affectionate child, and never had cared much for anyone. The noise and hurrying about and waiting...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?